All right, Copper fam, welcome back to my Theatre of Dreams. This is where the magic happens. And by magic, I mean 19 days now without a shower and no one's noticed. Now, as I'm sure you've already assumed, yes, you're right, I am quite a selfless man and humble too, might I add. And it's because of those qualities, in fact, that I've spent my entire lockdown in this lounge room, churning through every morsel of footballing goodness that you can find on Netflix for the sole purpose of guiding you guys to the best football content out there. Last week, it was the best series. And this week, well, it's all about the best football in one-offs. I'm talking movies and documentaries. First up, it's concrete football. Or as they say in France, ballon sur bitume. Didn't do 5 years of French for nothing. You know they call McDonald's McDo. Now, I love this film. It's absolutely beautiful. A love letter to the rough and tumble and innate beauty of street football in the French housing estates known as banlieues. And instead of telling the film in any kind of chronological order, instead the story plays out estate by estate. And what's so great about that is every single chapter starts with a revered graduate. And we're talking some seriously big names, from Riyad Mahrez to Ousmane Dembele to Yassine Brahimi to Serge Aurier and so many more. And it's actually Mahrez who provides one of my favourite quotes in this film, where he reveals that despite his status now as a full-time Premier League player, it's still the adventurous dribbling style of the banlieues that dictates his mind during and after games.
De dribbler et tout ça, ça me rend, tu vois, je kiffe. Si je dribble pas dans un match, je suis pas bien, tu vois. Même si on gagne 4-0 et tout, si j'ai pas dribblé ou j'ai pas fait des petites différences, là, je vais rentrer chez moi, je vais dire ah.
Now I'm going to do something crazy here and actually reveal to you one of the final lines of this film, where Ferhat, a street footballing legend and coach to over 400 kids in the banlieues, defines this culture as being about
un ballon, un terrain et tes potes. Et là, t'as le monde, il est à toi.
But with all respect to the OG, having watched this film several times over, I got to disagree, because what Concrete tells you is that this is also about the music you listen to as you play, the style or type of court you play in, and it's definitely about the clothes you rock as you play.
À défaut d'être un bon joueur, on va essayer d'être beau au moins. Donc on essaie d'avoir un peu la dégaine, comme on dit.
What I love about this is even the fashion debate is as hotly contested as the actual matches, where when it comes to talking about what you got to wear on the pitch, the youngsters and the elders do not see eye to eye.
Et même si tu remarques bien les survêtements maintenant d'entraînement, ils sont très près du corps. Alors qu'avant, tu mets un truc près du corps. Ouais, mais t'es un fou, mais qu'est-ce que tu fais? Non, 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 mais tu vois ce que je veux dire ou pas? Que maintenant, c'est le style.
It's personal, it's intimate, and it gives incredible access into the talented footballers and unique characters and places that make up France's working class community, as well as showing just how seriously these five-a-side matches are taken in the estates.
Tous ceux qui ont joué au foot, ils le savent, il y a toujours un mec qui va être là à mettre l'ambiance, à tailler les gens.
Ici, il ne faut pas rater de geste technique. Alors surtout si tu te manges un geste technique, prends tes affaires et quitte le terrain direct. Parce que ça va rigoler sur toi jusqu'à arriver au quartier.
From the incredible moments deep in the estates captured in beautiful slow motion to the wonderful moments of brotherhood and fraternity, this really is a film you can't miss. And with a running time of only about 50 minutes, you've really got no excuse. Next up, a proper high-quality biopic about the legend, Bobby Robson. We all love Bobby, right? I mean, everyone who knew him says he was an absolute gent, and this film only emphasizes that point further. But on top of that, More Than a Manager is a comprehensive look at the incredible career of a man who seemed to relish life outside of his comfort zone.
Bom dia, Tatão. Estou muito contente de estar aqui.
This film has a super elegant, non-linear structure that moves back and forth throughout Bobby's career, but mainly hinges on the difficult time he had as head coach of Barcelona. But I mean, let's be honest, anyone who's going to replace Johan Cruyff at the Camp Nou was always going to have a hard time.
Johan Cruyff was the most influential person in Barcelona in terms of the way you want to play, the way you want to be. It was a tough task.
One thing you notice immediately in this film is just how fondly people talk of Sir Bobby, from the likes of Ronaldo to Mourinho to Ferguson, Lineker, Guardiola, and in particular Gazza, where you really note those two had a special relationship.
Talk about father figure. The guy was phenomenal for me. Under Sir Bobby, I knew I was safe. I was safe.
Despite the plaudits and esteem that Robson's held in, it's only having watched this documentary that you realise how much he was part of and also how much he accomplished, all told with beautiful looking archive footage that goes from his managerial beginnings as a young man with a broke Ipswich to winning the FA Cup and going to Europe as a middle-aged man with that same Ipswich team. You've got Bobby winning trophies at Barca, PSV, Sporting and Porto, his rage at the hand of God at Mexico '86, and his heartbreak losing on penalties at the semi-finals of Italia '90. It's all there, all beautifully summed up by a quote from the man himself.
If you're a fantastic painter, you're never rich until you're dead. And I think it happens with managers. You never appreciate it until you've gone.
Now, just how do you follow a biopic about Sir Bobby Robson? Well, I'm going to take you to a story that you're probably less familiar with, but is nonetheless one of the most inspiring tales I've seen in years. This is the story of Alexis Vieira, and strap yourself in, because things are about to get emotional. Now, this documentary is about goalkeeper Alexis Vieira, who was shot outside his home in Colombia following an armed robbery, which left him lucky to be alive and told, in all likelihood, he would never walk again. But before we delve into the darker sides of this story, we have to mention his career, which holds enough dramatic moments to be a film in its own right, as at every point, Vieira personifies the underdog spirit in football, overcoming the odds at every obstacle.
Era de madera en el fútbol, Alexis. En ningún lado. No lo aceptaban en ningún lado. La última fue en Brandi, Club Atlético Brandi.
Y lo tenía ahí alternando en todos los puestos, como que no andaba, ¿no?
Un día faltó el arquero, lo pusieron a él y nunca más salió.
Y ahí empecé a jugar de arquero. Y me mataban a pelotazo y yo me tiraba, no le tenía miedo al balón.
Él siempre fue muy decidido, sí, audaz. Él siempre fue muy audaz, muy luchador. Siempre fue de chico, fue así.
It's that fighting spirit that saw him make his professional debut at only 15 for Minos Racing. And it's also that fighting spirit that saw him then sign on for fellow Minos River, where he had a legendary game against Uruguayan powerhouses Nacional. But hey, don't take my word for it.
Lo que recuerdo de él es que lo quería matar desde el principio, ¿no? Porque él atajaba en River cuando yo debuto en Nacional. En ese partido tuvimos, no te miento, si mal no recuerdo, 13 ocasiones de goles y creo que 9 fueron mías.
Suárez se acomoda, ahí va Suárez, Viera.
Y otra gran atajada de Alexis Vieira en el partido.
Tiene que terminar en gol, tiene que terminar en gol, tiene que terminar en gol. No. ¡Qué chance!
Y se encuentra con Alexis Vieira realmente invencible.
Toda me la atajó Alexis y ja, una calentura. 7 me la habrá atajado él.
So impressed with his performance, Nacional signed him. Vieira's career comes on leaps and bounds in the following years, shining during a penalty shootout in a Copa Libertadores qualifier against Boca, and then signing on for Colombian giants América de Cali. However, it's in Colombia where this beautiful tale of growth takes a severe turn.
El mundo del fútbol impactado ante esta noticia. El ídolo del América de Cali y del Club Nacional de Fútbol, Alexis Vieira, fue víctima de un asalto esta tarde en Colombia.
Returning home from a shopping trip with his wife, Vieira was met by 2 armed robbers who shot him in the spine from point-blank range. He was told that he would never walk again. Now, don't be fooled into thinking this one's purely a tale of woe, as honestly, it's about as uplifting a story as they come, as fueled by determination and passion. Vieira just refuses to believe that he won't walk again. It may be titled A Story of Surviving, but this documentary is so much more than that. Now look, I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to fictional stories about ultra groups and supporter culture, I often stay away, as this very convoluted, complex subculture is far too often depicted by Hollywood into over-dramatized cliches and stereotypes. But in Ultras, I made an exception, as the man tasked with directing this much-awaited feature film is none other than Francesco Lettieri, who's become a cult figure in Italy thanks to his aesthetically breathtaking music videos, which take place predominantly around Naples and the surrounding southern Italian regions. And fittingly, it's in Naples where this story plays out, where we follow two men with two very different roles in the Napoli Ultra group Apache. There's Sandro, the aged veteran leader, who despite a strict police ban, still dictates the activities of the group from afar, and Angelo, the fresh-faced teen Sandro takes under his wing, who sits on the fringes of the group and is desperate to play a more significant role. From the opening credits, where neon pastel titles sit ahead of old VHS tapes of fans fighting to a soundtrack of 80s synth pop, it's clear that Lettieri knows what he's doing in documenting Neapolitan football culture. His dedication to details continues throughout the film, where it's obvious that Lettieri has considered every scene, whether it's something as simple as an establishing shot of a police station, a contemplative cigarette before bed, or basically every shot of a Vespa. But the scene which really convinced me of Lettieri's expertise in this subject was this beautifully extended shot, which involved the senior Sandro retelling this story of a dangerous away match to the younger Angelo as he silently packed away a banner.
Dopo qualche mese mi arriva un messaggio da uno dei loro capi che ci invitavano a questa festa della Dea. Loro ogni anno fanno questa festa e il messaggio diceva: sarebbe un onore per noi avere i nostri rivali napoletani. Noi siamo messi pure a ridere perché ma com'è? Noi siamo amici che ci invitano alla festa, ma non stanno buone cacao.
More enthusiastic in each development of the story he tells, it's the older Sandro who seems more excited by the tale than the younger Angelo hearing it for the first time. And it's this exchange between the two that, at least in my experience from dealing with Ultras, comes closest to summing up why people hold this subculture so dear to their heart despite its risks to health, safety, finance and even life. At the end of the day, it's all about telling crazy stories you've experienced in the past. And boy, is Ultras a crazy story. Alright, Lockdowners, well that is just some of the brilliant footballing films and documentaries you can find on Netflix at the moment. And that handful should last you at least till the next week or so. Or day or so if you're as lonely as me. But anyway, check the description below for links to the titles discussed, as well as some of our other favourites from the Netflix football collection. But look, that's it for me at the moment. As you can see, I'm a busy man. I've got things to do. But thanks for dropping by. And let's catch up next time the next big series drops, yeah?
The life that we lead is a lonely road until you find somebody you can build that home with.